Hey guys, it's Kim here and welcome to the second part of our TARDIS crafting stream. Say hello to Becky. That way, Becky. Sorry, it's all mirror image here, isn't it? Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, we did a crafting stream last week where we started, I say we, I mean Becky, started making a foam TARDIS. You can make it out of cardboard or card as well. There we go, this is what it looks like now. This week we are going to be decorating and doing some electronics with our breathing white light. Not a beathing white light, a breathing white light, as you can see on the materials list below. I realised in doing the edit for last week's video that there was a typo just staring at us that whole time and none of us spotted it.
All right, I'll do a new version and
fine.
You can slot it in the edit.
No,
how's that?
It's not happening.
No, we don't.
If you want a full detailed list of written instructions and a materials list, and also a template that Becky created, so that you can actually print out the template so you can cut out all the pieces yourself, then if you look in the video description below, there is a link to Becky's Ko-fi page with all of that. Twitch chat right now, it's in the chat right now, so it's there for you. But yeah, Becky, take it away. What are we doing? What have you done since the last stream?
What have I done? I mean, I just have to say Sleepy Dragon Man said the beathings will continue until the materialization improves. That is a wonderful combination of Amanda Palmer and TARDISness. Massively appreciate. Anyway, right, back to the TARDIS. What I've done. So, TARDIS is now all glued together. There were also these details around the sides that I completely forgot to glue on last week. I put those actually in camera view. Yeah, so these little bits at the sides, which I had to glue on. I redid the door and glued it to the inside of this bit rather than further in.
Could you turn your TARDIS around? So, because it's upside. There we go. There you go.
To remember, like,
it's going to be upside down
all over the place for here. Like, my brain gets
dyslexic.
I can't do left and right anyway. This is like upside down, back to front, left to right. Yeah, so I re-glued that onto the inside of this outer wall, rather than to the inside of that bit, just because it brought the door forward and meant it didn't open so weirdly. But I do think that there are prettier sides than the door side. I think this is a very nice side.
Yeah.
So this might actually be the front, and the door's entire purpose might be to turn the light on.
Right. So a back door.
Yeah, because I don't think the door has turned out as pretty as I was hoping.
No.
So I glued it all together. I did things like filling in the seams with, we're going to try and say this properly, caulk. Not cork, as Kim. Not cork.
Caulk. C-A-U-L-K. Caulk.
Yeah, I put it back over there, so I can't show you. But decorative stuff that you use in tilings, you can fill in the seams with that so that they're nice. I've got nice corners rather than big gashes, which I did have last week. Then I've sprayed it with primer, which I ran out of as I was spraying it, so it's not beautifully sprayed. It's very scrappily sprayed. And then I covered it with just a layer of PVA.
PVA glue?
Or white glue, yeah. Like Elmer's, white glue, PVA, Mod Podge, anything like that would do. I did sneakily put this on the top, which is not in the pattern. I'll update the pattern with all the things I've learned while building this, because there have been some changes. But this is just the start of what will be the lantern holder, which we'll put together today. Which I was winging a bit. So that was just sort of me.
Did you spray paint the inside as well?
The inside, where's the door? So the inside, if you can see, is silver.
And so I guess the idea is that it reflects the light a bit more.
It will just help the light a bit more. But yeah, I mean, I wish I'd done things like, I wish I'd lined it all with like foil or silver leaf before putting it all together, because that would have made that a lot shinier. And I think the TARDIS is going to become one of those things. I think I might build a TARDIS every year and build a different generation one every year to prove how my maker skills are getting better.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So I think the TARDIS might become the kind of base level of how my maker skills are going.
Well, crafting is a learning experience, isn't it? It's, as Brian Brennan says in chat, everything is a learning experience, and you seem to be having fun, which is the most important thing.
I am having fun, and I hope you're all having fun.
And Brian Brennan says your plan of making one a year sounds brilliant, and you should do it.
Right, first we're going to paint the TARDIS.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to make the lantern while the TARDIS dries.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to put everything together.
Okay.
Right, we're going to start painting our TARDIS. So we've got our Arteza paints back. I've got a lovely selection of blues, greys, and yellows that we need later, but not yet, to create a nice TARDIS blue. We are going with this is the 2005 TARDIS. So it was...
Which Doctor is that?
Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant had this TARDIS.
I had an answer.
Well done, Kim. So it's more of a kind of greyish blue, and it's a bit kind of rough and rugged. It's got a kind of painterly look to it. This is partly why I didn't do the Matt Smith TARDIS, although Matt Smith is one of my favourite Doctors, because this TARDIS is more fun in terms of paint.
Typical, you pick the one that's more fun to craft.
Yeah, also, what else? Like the Matt Smith one is very crisp and clean, and I just didn't think I could manage that for my first TARDIS. So
Nice.
We've gone with a rough TARDIS.
Nice.
As stated before, if you've watched any of our other videos, the colours on the Arteza paints, you can't see, I've got really dark. Okay, let's look at the yellow quickly. Although these are wonderful paints, the colours on the labels are not always that representative of the colour inside. So I've started painting the tops with the colour, but I've only done it on the paints I've used. So all the ones I haven't used, I still kind of have to wing it a bit. So we're going to have fun here today. Also, what's really nice about the TARDIS is the TARDIS is made of wood, sort of. The TARDIS is not really made of wood, the TARDIS is made of all sorts of other things, but it masquerades as wood, as a wooden police box. So brush strokes are great because they will look like a wood texture.
Oh.
Aha, yes, clever things. So how does that look like? It's quite a bright blue. Quite nice. It was great. There's an artist called Jackie Morris who did a wonderful book called The Lost Words, and she's an incredible illustrator. And she also did a book called Tell Me a Dragon. But she posted a picture of her studio this morning, and all her paint palettes were as messy as mine, and I felt really vindicated.
Nice.
So I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Other artists are like this too.
Well, you're busy doing other stuff. Like, it's people like me who are like, it must be neat and immaculate, but then I don't actually paint at all. So there you go.
Oh, that's a nice colour. Like that one, Pearl Sapphire Blue. That's got a bit of a metallic sheen to it. That one's fun. I'm going to use that one.
Mini Noises says, have you ever used Citadel paints, Becky? They're rather good in my opinion.
I haven't. I believe Citadel paints are designed for model making. And for sort of miniature painters.
Oh, I do believe there was a question earlier if you've ever painted Warhammer models.
I have not. I am aware that I have a somewhat addictive personality, and I tend to deep dive on things.
Yeah.
And so when I was younger, I was very careful in a way about not getting too into things that would destroy all my time.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who lived just down the road who was very into Warhammer, and I was just a bit like, if I get into this, I will never do any homework ever again.
Yeah.
I will just do this, and that will be my world, and that will take all of my money and everything.
Yeah.
And so I didn't.
I think that's the thing is, I'd love to get into it because it seems like totally up my street, but like the people I know who do it, it's a big commitment, and they just have. I wouldn't know what to do with like the models afterwards. Like, you know, I know that you could probably, you know, get to a point where you could paint them for other people and have people send them to you, but you have to get to that level, right? You have to. So what do I do with the hundreds of little models that I practice on?
To be fair, my house, you can see around me, like my house is just filling up with things I've made, and I'm entirely okay with that.
But they're like cool individual display things that you can display. Like, have you ever seen like the uniformity of the tiny miniatures? Like, would you like 100 of tiny tanks around your house?
If I was going to get into Warhammer, like there's some wonderful kind of fantasy creations, and they do like the big sculptures that are like 30 centimeters high. I'd probably paint those kind of things and try and do them with a really individual paint style.
Yeah.
So, similar to how we did with Totoro, because this is quite a rough TARDIS and has quite a, painterly style, I'm just mixing on the TARDIS.
Okay. So, would there be...
already quite nice.
Would there be other situations where you mix it, like, in a pot, pan pot
If I didn't
palette?
have on the Dragon stream, we looked at my entire collection of Arteza paints, whereas now I'm just bringing out the ones I need because we've got a lot less space here. But there are 60 different paints. So generally, if I want to colour a specific one colour, they've got the colour I want. But if I was mixing like a solid one colour, I would mix it in the palette. So if I wanted like a very specific green everywhere, or if I was doing, Matt Smith's TARDIS, I would probably mix that blue or find that blue and then paint it on, because it's a solid blue. It's not really got any variations to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arteza's great. Sorry about that. Because there's so many paint colours here, I haven't really got to a point yet where I've been like, oh, I really don't have this colour that I want.
Carl the Drummer says, where can I buy Arteza paint? They've sold out on their website.
I take full responsibility for that. I've been praising them. Amazon have them. A lot of craft stores will have them. If they've sold out on the website, they do I'd hope they restock. Reach out to them on Instagram, ask them when they're going to restock. They usually restock quite regularly. Probably there are some delays to that because of the situation in the world right now. Everything's a bit slower depending on where they make them, if they get them manufactured or where they need to get them shipped in from. There might be a delay with that. But yeah, just if there's a particular product that you want, their customer service team are wonderful. Okay,
so here's a question for you, legit question. How much, from APN Fox, how much does this level of crafting usually cost?
What, the TARDIS level of crafting?
Yeah, so I guess the thing is, so all of these craft streams that we've been doing so far, is this like our 6th stream or something like that?
It's our 4th craft.
4th craft, okay. So all the crafting that we've done so far, we've always aimed to keep it at a level that you can do it at home through random crap that you have, like cardboard, like toilet roll, bubble wrap, paper bottles, plastic bottles.
Who's got paper bottles? I'm really intrigued.
So, and then things that you have to buy, we've tried to keep it so that you can use like cheap things, like basic things like PVA glue, poster paints, like you don't have to get the really fancy things, that kind of thing. So if you take a look at the like materials lists for any of our past projects, so the link is in chat now. The idea is like you should be able to buy entry-level materials if you don't have them already. If not, you should be able to use materials around the house. We're very much aware that we're all in lockdown, we're all stuck at home, so that was kind of our idea for these streams, was like, to give you guys something to do at home while we're all going slowly insane and turning into big slug creatures.
Slug creature? What? I don't have.
I'm personally turning into a human slug, so.
I don't have the top button on my combat trousers undone right now. What?
I definitely haven't been wearing sweatpants for 9 weeks in a row now. That definitely has nothing to do.
Who's still wearing jeans? Like, who are you?
Why? Free the button.
The most expensive thing we use is probably a glue gun. And
even then, you could get cheap ones.
Yeah, like we're trying to keep it. I would say all of these crafts are under 25 quid.
Yeah.
And all of them have things in them that like you could use multiple times. Like that 25 quid is not only going to do you that craft. It's going to do you for multiple crafts.
Yeah. So like if you buy a paint set, like the Arteza paint set, hopefully that should last you a long time and not just to make one TARDIS or one.
It depends how big your TARDIS is.
Yeah.
Also, if you're making a giant TARDIS and you just want to buy paints for that TARDIS, just go on Arteza and buy the individual like large paints and buy blues.
Yeah.
You don't need 60 other colours. So this is completely indeliberate, but I've kind of watered down my paint so it's not that thick, and it means that it's kind of it's because acrylic paint goes on really well in its form, but it kind of it's getting this kind of crackle effect. Don't know if you can see that. I don't know if that's going to be clear enough.
Give me that.
Showing it off. Yeah, like crackle effect kind of there.
Oh.
And
okay.
I really like it.
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely going to leave that as it is because I think it looks worn.
Yeah. It looks like it's been around the universe a little bit.
It does. I really quite like it. So that was an accident, but happy accidents.
So on the subject of paints, is it acrylic? Can you use any other kind of paints? Like, does it have to be acrylics?
So don't use watercolors.
Yeah. We've always said this, haven't we? Every time I ask you this and everything, it's like, don't use watercolors. I
mean, watercolors are good on paper. Or like wood. You can paint them on wood. They're good with things with with absorbency. This basically, a lot of the materials that we're using here, the paint's basically going on top of them. It's not absorbing into. So you want something that's got that kind of consistency and texture and composition that it will stay on top rather than trying to adhere or absorb. Other paints, you could use poster paints, you could use probably any of the model making paints that you've got. It also depends what you make your TARDIS of.
Yeah, because we did say at the beginning you could make it from cardboard or card.
You could, I mean, then you could colour it in with felt tip pens.
Okay. How?
If you made it with wood, you could paint it with anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How? This is going to be a really dumb question, but that's what I'm here for, is to ask the dumb questions. How easy is it to paint foam?
So let's look at some comparisons here quickly. I'm gonna have to disconnect my mic because my arms aren't long enough. Right, so it's an egg from our egg making the other week.
Dragon eggs.
Dragon eggs. I'm with it. What's anyone saying? So this was a big dragon egg that sat outside the bell jar. This was painted without any kind of anything applied to the foam. So there was no primer on this. There was no sealant. There was no PVA. This was just painted straight onto the egg, straight onto the foam.
Back a bit more into the middle. There you go. Right there. Right there.
Okay. Right there. So yeah, this has nothing on it. This is just paint straight onto the foam. So what you can see with this is that you're still seeing the foam colour show through.
Right.
And you're getting kind of that texture is still there. And it does. It doesn't take as well if you're doing effects like washes or anything like that. So this, I did actually do a wash on this. So this has got a lighter wash, which you can kind of see really strongly there, kind of picking up the highlights.
Oh, your camera's frozen again.
Just to
no, it's fine. Carry on. Carry on.
It's just jumping. It's all okay.
Yeah, it's just jumping.
Let's just.
People are claiming that this is a Brussels sprout dragon, though.
It is a Brussels sprout dragon, absolutely. That's fine. I'm on board with that. I love Brussels sprouts, so I know that's divisive opinion.
Weird.
I'm very British. But yeah, so washes don't hold that well. Paint doesn't adhere great to foam. So it will go on top and it will just sort of sit there, but it doesn't really, like, the washes will kind of just fade out, etc. Foam, most people would prime their foam and seal their foam, like we've done with the TARDIS here.
Yeah, so that's why you primed it and then put glue all over it.
Yes, essentially.
Okay.
But yeah, you can paint directly onto foam, and it massively depends on what paints you have. Like, I am still new to this investing in my craft career. So I bought Arteza paints because I thought they were the most versatile. because they can be used as plain acrylics, they can be used on foam, they can be used in an airbrush. Like, they have a lot of versatility. I don't have another word for that. I was hoping I'd come up with another word.
Variation?
Probably the right word, is it?
No, I think versatility works. Versatility works.
Yeah, they're very versatile paints, and that's why I bought them, because I was like, I'm not sure how far I'm going to go with this. I'm going to take my time and invest in bits slowly as I see how it goes. So yeah, I bought a paint that could be used in multiple different ways. But yeah, there are paints that are specifically designed for like prop making and things that would probably go on foam better. Punish Props are great people to look to for advice on stuff like that. Yeah, it's, if anyone's got any other experience of painting stuff and what goes on and what doesn't, please let us know.
Kishi Mikazu says they're the jack of all paints.
They are the jack of all paints. That is absolutely correct.
And then going back to the wood effect, yeah, loads of people agreeing. 39 Salty Cookies says very wood-like. It makes it look more like wood. Looks like wood grain, which feels spot on. Lots of stuff about Brussels sprouts and artichokes. They think your dragon egg looks like an artichoke as well.
I'd agree with that more. I think it's more of an artichoke than a Brussels sprout.
Yeah.
Like, I think cheap paints, it depends what you're making as to whether you need to buy expensive paints. I don't think you ever need to buy expensive things. Like, Arteza paints are not expensive.
I think especially when you're starting out as well, there is nothing wrong with buying entry-level stuff, seeing what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and then, like, if you're really invested, then you kind of, like, gradually upgrade.
Yeah, also, if you really get on with a really cheap thing, just keep using it.
Yeah.
Like, it's for you, so don't let anyone else tell you what you should or have to have. I was going to say this earlier, actually. In a lot of the guides, or we've only written 2 guides. In the guides, I've often included like an either/or option at the top, like things you could use this or this or this, so that there is a bit of leeway for people who are winging it, because we're all about winging it.
Yeah. Happy little accidents. Alan Jet says, does anyone know why Becky doesn't use an airbrush for such a big thing?
Because the airbrush is less stream conducive.
Yeah, it's not a thing that is great for stream. But also, like I said, we're trying to do a craft that's like, entry level crafts. And I don't think a lot of entry level crafts involve airbrushes. I think going back to what we were saying earlier about like how much did we spend on materials, we're aiming for like maybe 20 quid to get you set up, 20-25 quid. And a good airbrush is quite expensive. So
good airbrush is not 25 quid. Also, I only recently became an airbrush owner, and I'm so proud. But I am still only getting to grips with it. Like, they do take time, and there is a knack to them, and I'm still more comfortable with the paintbrush in my hand. Like, the airbrush is great. I really love it for sealers. So I'm using it a lot with properly thinned Mod Podge. And that Mod Podge, for anyone who doesn't know, is just like a craft version of white glue, but comes in different finishes. And it's really great for getting a lovely even coat of that, which I've never managed to do with a brush. So I'm using it now currently in a way for applying like a one color in a big block. And I'm not yet at the point where I'm kind of like, I could comfortably do all the effects I want to with this device. But I will get there. And, in this way off future that Kim and I are dreaming of, where we have our workshop and our studio set up and it's all lovely, we will definitely get the airbrush in there, and I'll build a proper painting cupboard with proper extraction and safety features.
PPE!
PPE! Right now, also my airbrush lives in my bathroom because that's the easiest place to aerate. I don't have any outside space, so I do all my spray painting in my bathroom.
Yeah.
And it's a bit hard to get a camera in my bathroom. I don't really want a camera in my bathroom.
Who does? This isn't OnlyFans, damn it.
So, it's easier. It's with the setup we've got at the moment, painting is a lot easier.
Yeah. And it's a lot calmer as well, I think.
Look, and just for everyone, I'm not painting like this. No, I've not left myself much. I'm not painting this bottom here. That is only because I need to be able to turn the TARDIS.
Yeah.
So I will go back and paint that. I'm just not going to do it for the stream while I'm needing to rotate.
What's up next? Are we doing some electronics?
We're going to look at a few other things first.
Oh.
So, okay, we'll talk about electronics. We're going to put things together. So this is our light.
A bathing light.
You make one mistake.
A breathing light.
A breathing light, which goes... Well, not as fast as that. It goes quite slowly. But that is the light. I do show you the most exciting thing. I bought this. We're not doing soldering today because I found someone who would just sell this to me with a battery pack, and I was like, "That's great. I don't have to do any work. That's kind of wonderful." I'm going to share with you a wonderful possession. It goes to be that way up. Yeah. This is Rust-Oleum's Frosted Glass Spray. I love frosted glass spray.
What the hell is... What?
So, anything that's see-through, you can spray and it will look like that. It will look like it's been frosted.
Okay.
Now, this is great. Oh, I've already got paint on what's going to be my light. That's great. So this is great for lights, for making them diffuse.
Okay.
Because if you spray this on... you can either spray this on the light, or we're going to be putting our light in the tube as well. So you spray the tube, and it will just help diffuse the light a bit more. Some people use sandpaper to rough up the outside. That will also do it, but this stuff is great. And I love it.
That is crazy.
Right. Piece of PVC plastic pipe.
Okay.
You could use... This is what I'm going to use for our lantern container and to spend our light, because the light sort of needs to be right in the middle of the TARDIS.
Yeah.
I can say words. Looking at the time, we've got an hour and a half. We can do this. Feeling confident. See what I mean about the bend? Just straighten. It's really annoying. They're really hard to straighten. But the idea is that the light will sit in the bottom of this. I'm going to try and show this off, which is really hard in the dark, in the daylight. But if we spray this tube, you can sort of see what it's doing.
Yeah, I can see it, yeah.
But the light, actually, the tube kind of brings the light up, so we can have a light in the middle of the TARDIS and it will shine out the windows. But if the top of our lantern is up here, it will also shine out the lantern.
Nice.
Yeah, this is what we're planning. We've got plans. So, some things that we're going to do.
Shimikaze says maybe a heat gun would work to straighten it?
Yeah, probably would. I don't own a heat gun yet.
Could you just use a hairdryer?
Probably could. If anyone saw on our Dragon Egg there, my experiments with hairdryer on a bottle, it works. It does change the shape, but it's a little unpredictable.
Yeah.
So I'm just a bit scared.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have to live with a slightly bendy TARDIS light.
It's slightly wonky tube. It's fine.
Yeah, things happen. So I built this little dome for the top of the TARDIS, which will need to be painted, but I may not get to that today just because that hasn't been sealed, and that's sanded foam. Sanded foam really does need to be sealed before it's painted.
So how can you go quickly over the steps on how you made that little dome?
I cut a square of 1mm foam and then sanded it into a dome, and then I glued it onto some, not 1mm, 10mm foam.
Yeah, I was going to say 1mm into a dome. That is crazy.
And then I glued it onto a 2mm piece of foam and just cut it in a nice little circle, and that's going to be the top of the lantern.
So that's going to poke out the top of the TARDIS.
Yes. I demonstrate, but the TARDIS is wet now.
Yeah.
And then we're going to create a little kind of base for that as well. It's going to sit in. And then you don't need to do this, but I'm going to do the lines on the TARDIS, the lines on the lantern, which are 4 up and 2 around, I believe. Might be 6 up and 2 around.
I'm just looking at the diagram on the left. Yeah.
4 up and 2 around?
Yeah, looks like it.
Enhance. I'm going to use relief outliner. Which you don't need this. You could do this just with pen or with anything, you know, whatever. Or with foam. But relief outliner is great stuff that Kim's trying to see how many lines on the start.
Okay.
I think that's 4 around and 2 across. This is essentially, it's like fake lead for doing stained glass windows.
Oh.
But what you'll get with it is like you'll get a line, but I haven't got any scrap paper. I should always have scrap paper. That's how relief outliner looks. It provides depth, and you can get really nice lines with it.
Okay.
I am going to spray this tube with frosting, but I'm going to paint some of it. So if you're paying attention to your TARDIS lights, then the light that comes out the windows and the box irons is white, and the light that comes out the top lantern is yellow.
Well, that's not fair.
It's not fair. I did contemplate doing 2 different lights together, and then I thought of an easier way, because I've just seen one of the things in chat. Samo963, why does Snoop Dogg carry an umbrella? Faux drizzle. Are we continuing with this?
Of course we are. It's a crim stream. We're having rubbish puns, dad puns, all the time. It won't stop.
Okay. I'm fine with that. It's fine. It's all okay. So I've talked about this before, but Arteza paints, they have a transparency rating. So if we look at two yellow colours here, you can see, hopefully, on one, there is a solid square, and on the other, there is a half-filled square.
Just about.
About. Now, the solid square means that is do I want to say opaque paint? You cannot see through it. The half-filled square means it's a semi-transparent paint.
Yes.
Which means that we can paint it onto something see-through and light will still go through it.
Okay.
So
you're using the yellow opaque, semi-transparent paint.
Semi-transparent and semi-opaque. They're the same thing because transparent is one way, opaque is the other. So if it's semi-transparent or semi-opaque, you're in the middle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jellybean God says, will a brush not make the light look streaky?
Yeah, probably, but this is the world we live in. I don't have any other thing. Okay, the airbrush room. I can't airbrush during stream. I don't have sponges.
Could you do it with like a highlighter pen? Or like a felt tip pen?
And probably not a felt tip because they'd be less. You want to keep it transparent. That's the trick.
Yeah.
So you want to keep it. Yes, it will be a bit streaky, but it's not going to be that bright. So yeah, if we just kind of look at that.
Hey.
Yes, if I did this with an airbrush, it would be nicer. But this is the first TARDIS. I can't make this one too good. The next one will be a lot harder.
Do you do that thing where, like, I don't know if you're challenging yourself with something? So I'm kind of doing it with running at the moment. Don't tell Ted. Where like you just leave a little bit so that the next time you do it, it's kind of like a low bar to you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I absolutely do. And I'm like, I've already, through the cutting and things, I've worked out that this TARDIS is not going to be perfect, which means I've stopped trying to make it perfect, and now I'm just trying to make it okay.
Brilliant.
And the next one,
what a thing to say on a craft stream. What a thing to say on a craft stream. Oh my God.
No, okay, we've talked about this on our craft stream. We've talked about how you don't have to be perfect. I have embraced this. I'm just sticking this on the end of some scissors so that I can quickly frost spray it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to do that.
I'm intrigued by how you're going to frost spray it.
Not in view because I would spray a camera spray because that will end badly.
Okay, well, let me just hold on a minute. Let me just move it so I can see your top camera a bit better. Hold on. Go.
Okay.
There we go. This is what it looks like to spray a PVC tube.
It's very technical here.
Should you have the windows open and PPE and all that?
I do have the windows open. My chemical mask, the strap broke the other day, so I need to get a new one.
Oh, brilliant. I might have a spare if you need it.
Don't inhale.
Yeah,
anyone.
do you huff it now? Is this where you huff it?
No.
Is this where you start huffing?
Yeah, I have.
Because what's the point? What's the point of having sprays if you don't huff them?
Huff the spray. I have one of these masks, which is just a dust mask, but really for spraying, you should use a chemical mask. So, be safe, everyone. Proper PPE. That can't be touched while it's drying, okay? So, I'm just going to balance it. I'm going to balance. This is the great thing about the scissors. They're heavy. I can now balance this and not have it touch anything. So,
Shimakaze says Kim is the best role model. Jellybean God says just hold your breath for the rest of the stream. It's fine. Don't inhale. Don't spray on eyeballs. There seems to be a mixture of people who want you to huff it and not huff it.
Look, children, don't spray. Always spray in a well-ventilated area. I've got the window open. Always spray away from yourself or towards Trot.
Make sure there's no cats in the room or dogs in the room. Don't spray on your
use
dog.
A mask, preferably a chemical mask if you've got one. But, if I was in a smaller room and I didn't have the window open, I would never do that without a chemical mask. This is a big room. I've got the window open and it was a quick spray. If you're doing it for any longer, do not do that.
Or go outside.
Do what I say, not as I do. Yeah, if you've got an outside. Right, let's talk about the signage a little. And the windows, while everything's off drying in places.
Look at these cute little details. So these are from your template, right?
These are on the template. They're all included. They are all accurate to the 2005 TARDIS.
And what have you printed? Is that just paper that you've printed that out on?
I'm going to explain.
Oh,
so
here we go.
These are paper, but I've laminated them.
Oh.
Laminators are great because you can laminate stuff and then cut it out and then it's plastic. I love a laminator anyway.
What happened to entry-level crafting?
Look, you don't need to do this, but I have a laminator and
I'm going to use the damn thing.
Yeah, you don't need to do this, of course, but it also meant that I could be a bit rougher with them. So when I was making things, for the first time, I can't tear these, so I can just sort of, sort things. These are not tissue paper, tracing paper. So tracing paper, again, is another thing that is wonderful for diffusing light. And if you look at the windows on the TARDIS, you can't see through them, but you can see light through them. This tracing paper is perfect for that. So, yeah. Laminated. I've laminated the tracing paper as well because I'm just that obsessive.
Why not? Gaming Inc. says, laminators are like $20, Kim, and can be used for preserving many things. So I think they are basic level.
If you have a laminator, you can do this. If you don't worry about laminator. It's not essential. Just
could you do it like I used to do it when I was a kid and just sellotape it? Make a little.
Yeah. You could if you have an inkjet printer. So I have do I mean inkjet? No, I mean laser printer. Okay, so the problem with ink printers that we all have now that print lovely high quality ink printers is that ink needs absorbent surfaces and also can run. Laser printers didn't have this issue, which is why I have a laser printer in the corner that at some point I'll make work in a workshop. But if I had had a laser printer ready and working, I would have printed these onto tracing paper so that the police call box was properly see-through and light would come through it. You will get a bit of light through this because it's only thin paper, but it won't shine in the same way that we really want it to. But yes, not a lot of people are going to have a laser printer at home. It's quite an outdated piece of technology.
I have no printers.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take our windows. The windows are white in this TARDIS, so these need painting. But I might come back to that because we've got a lot of things drying, so I might just glue these on and deal with them later.
Paint it later, yeah. For purposes of here's one I made earlier, but I didn't.
But I didn't because look, I have a lot of things to do in the week. I'm not always prepping.
I have other things to do, right? It's not just about you, Kim. It's not just about you.
No, well, it's crafting is still a hobby for me. I would really like it to be a full-time gig. But it's not yet. It is still just a hobby, which means it has to fit around the things that pay my bills. Right, last week we used a glue gun and we used some contact adhesive. I hate contact adhesive. This is still just proven that I hate contact adhesive or have the wrong contact adhesive. So to glue these onto the windows, I'm going to use super glue.
Hey, basic glue. Wow.
A basic glue, all-purpose super glue bought from any craft store or any supermarket, really.
Yeah.
Just going to, put some on the back of these.
Could you put that a little bit higher up on your map?
I don't know, so demanding.
Oh, just people want to see a craft video with the craft. Have you glued it to your finger?
I'm really good at gluing things to my...
Oh my god.
I mean, it's not dry yet. I can still get it off. It's
yeah. Have you ever glued your fingers together?
Yeah, with a glue gun a couple of weeks ago. It was really painful.
Yeah. No, I've done it with super glue. I've done it with super glue.
Done it with a real glue.
Yeah. Gaming Inc says, be one with your crafts.
Yes, I think we had a lot of embracing the craft talk last week, didn't we? Yeah, I really have
crafts.
Okay.
Talkmatic says, Kim's knowledge of Doctor Who comes entirely from that Flux Buddies bit she did. Pretty much.
Ted did try to introduce you to it.
He tried,
he
yeah.
quite get on with it.
No. Well, the problem is he showed me modern ones, and it turned out it was the old ones that I liked, with Ace.
Him loved the retro.
Yeah, the retro stuff.
There we go. One window.
Hey. So we're going to do paint white first, and then glue.
Yes, would be the better way to do this.
But for the purposes of craft gems.
For the purposes of not having, not sitting here for half an hour while everything dries. Yeah.
So, B Syndicate has a hot super glue fact. If you sprinkle baking soda on super glue, it will dry instantly and be harder than concrete. A great tip for quick pain in the butt fixes. If you have a pain in the butt, though, I don't recommend that you apply super glue.
Don't fix a pain in the butt with super glue.
And baking powder.
I know what you mean, on the go, on the fly kind of fixes.
Oh, right. So we've got the TARDIS back on the table.
We've got the TARDIS back on the table. Right. So I'm going to do one side of this basically complete so that everyone can see how it's going to look. Because I think that's, as always, I've underestimated the time. We chat too much. We just spend too much time chatting.
It's the best thing about the stream. I mean, yeah.
So I think for this, I'm going to turn the hot glue gun on because we love a hot glue gun here.
So while the hot glue gun is warming up, quick question. So just noticed on the top of your TARDIS there, there's some white streaks on the top bit.
Yeah.
Is that intentional?
That's the paint doing the thing I was saying about cracking. I'll probably leave those on the sides where it looks like wood, but I'll probably add another layer on the top to remove that.
Okay, so is that literally how you fix it? Is just paint more?
Paint more with less water. That's happening because the water's meaning that it's spreading out and not here. I've put a second layer on this side, and you can see that solid color that's not got any lines. So it's to do with the way watered down paints react to non-adhesive surfaces. So this is why you can't use watercolor, because if you've got water in your paints, it needs to soak in. This is not a surface that it can soak into. This is a surface that it's going on top of, which is why it needs to be solid acrylic rather than watered down acrylic to get that solid paint.
Okay.
Does that make sense for everyone?
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to glue some of our details to the TARDIS, and again, I'm going to talk about how terrible I am about cutting straight lines, because these should fit in here exactly, which they don't.
Oh dear.
So I'm going to have to probably trim those down a bit. Luckily, there's a bit of black around the police box, so we've got a bit of leeway to trim that. This is still the great thing about foam, and if you smooth out the lines on your foam with caulk,
not cork.
Not caulk.
CAULK.
Then it's still flexible. So there's still a bit of leeway to but this is just not going to fit in the edge. So I'm going to have to trim that down a bit. And then we've got our windows, which are not painted white, but should be, which we can glue in there in a minute. So I just need a knife and a ruler.
Don't we all? for those of you who've never joined a craft stream before, we've done several now. If you want a full materials list, and Becky for this particular craft has made a template, so if you want to make the TARDIS yourself, if you go to Becky's Ko-fi page, link is in the chat right now, thank you Nightjar, you can download the template for the TARDIS now, and there's full written instructions there, so if you want to join in as well. What was I going to say? I don't know. This is currently made out of foam. You can make it out of card or cardboard as well.
Oh, what's nice about that? This shows you how bad my cutting is. I've just turned this round and it fits perfectly in one of the other sides.
Brilliant.
So we might do that side because that fits perfect. So doesn't that look nice? Oh.
Wolfie Cordova says, which Stargate is better, SG-1 or Atlantis? SG-1? Duh.
Sorry. Can I just go back to the Stargate movie, please?
No, because it doesn't have Teal'c in it. Or does it? I don't even remember. Who's in the movie?
James Spader. I loved the movie. I saw the movie in the cinema when I was. When did that come out? I feel like I was maybe like 10 or 11 or something. It was ages ago, but I loved the movie. And
I don't actually remember the movie because I saw the TV show first. Well, SG-1 first.
Yeah, I dipped in and out of the TV show, but the movie was really my Stargate. That was my love for it. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue gun glue on the inside here, just below the edge. And the idea is then that we're just going to slot that in, and it will just glue to that slightly inside, but held there.
Okay.
So we're just going to hold that while glued. A lot of this stream is about glue and paint drawing. I'm just using my knife here basically to like lift up the corner, because otherwise you kind of have to scratch in there a bit. So, and we're just going to do the same at the other side. So a little bit of glue on the inside, and then just press that down into it. Oh, glue gun fell over. All going well.
I'm trying not to say anything because I don't want to distract you. I just don't.
I'm fine. There we go. Good.
There you go.
Stay. Glue gun doesn't want to stand up today.
I want to know what's next on your crafting, because I need to talk. Because now that Nightjar's in chat, I need to talk about turnips.
Talk about turnips while I'm just going to be gluing bits like windows and the police box sign on, so you can just watch me do some fun glue bits. That's it. That's really all that's happening right now.
So 10 minutes before this stream starts, you go.
Just with the windows, I'm going to, because of the way they fit in and because that's quite a small hole, I'm going to put gun just on the inside, on the back of this, just a bit away from the edge, and then I'm just going to slot them in. Okay. Carry on.
So, 10 minutes before we went live on stream, I got a message in our little Nook Inc. group saying that Tom's turnips were selling for 566 bells. And I nearly delayed the stream because I was like, I need to buy those goddamn turnips. I need to buy them goddamn turnips. Nightjar says, fucking Tom Hayes. Like, exactly. Tom doesn't even play the... I'm pretty sure he's not even playing the game. I think Tash is just checking his Switch. But yeah, so Ted had to, because there was some tech issues with the internet. So Ted had to take my Switch. Ted had to take my Switch and go purchase them for me. So I can't wait until the stream ends and I can check how much money I've made on that. But this reminds me that I need to tell you what the Stalk Market is all about, Becky, because you need to learn this, because you were like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But yeah, so in Animal Crossing, there is a thing called the Stalk Market. Get it? Stalk Market.
I'm not an idiot. I do get it.
You buy turnips, and they're a kind of stalk. So you buy them on a Sunday. This little piggy boar comes to your island to sell them on a Sunday. And then for the rest of the week, you get 2 turnip prices during the time of the day. And so the idea is you need to sell them for more than you bought them for. And if you haven't sold them by the time it gets to the next Sunday, they rot. And that's it. You've wasted all your money. You've spent all your money and it's gone. It is gone. It's lost it. You've gone.
That's crueler than the stock market, isn't it?
Probably, actually, yeah, because the stock market, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't just rot. You could just wait.
They might be worth nothing, but you still have the stocks.
Yeah. But it's great now because there's now little forums and stuff. Because before, in the old days, before you had things like the internet and Discord and stuff like that, with all the old Animal Crossing days, you just had to deal with your crappy prices and that's it. But now, like, you can have Discord and forums and be like, what's your price today? What's your price? What's your price today? Tell me, let me in. What's your dodo code? Let me in.
TARDIS is looking quite good.
Yeah.
Now. So I'll bring it down a bit. I told everyone in the template to keep offcuts. Now, there's little handles and key hook details on the TARDIS. You can make those out of foam and paint them to match. So it's like 2 silver handles and a brass keyhole. I just make that with a little circle and little strips, like glued to. I will do that and take photos of them for Instagram. But that's going to get very fiddly, and trying to show it on camera it's not going to happen because they're so small. It's just going to be me like this. So let's not do that. Don't you love the way these streams are going? Going to put the TARDIS to the side again, and go back to our lantern tube. So, because actually I do need the TARDIS for reference to show this off. Because the top of this TARDIS is hollow. Remember, we made this wonderful little cone. If you try and push this in from the top, it will, like, fall down. I demonstrate. Yeah, like that. So that's what happens trying to push it in from the top.
Oh my god, that is lewd.
That is lewd. So we're going to try and go in from the bottom, which I don't know why I'm saying all these things. Which is also, you know, great to have the door for that.
I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing.
Gonna go in from the bottom, insert it from the bottom. Oh.
Stop it, you're not helping.
I'm so sorry. If you don't have PVC tubing, by the way, if you've got like a straw or a plastic, I had one around earlier, like the plastic top of a bottle, like if you, let me look at my glue here. If this wasn't all covered with glue, like this kind of ridged top, which are on screw top bottles, you could cut that off and you could use that as the lantern housing.
Mm-hmm.
So just, you know, trying to give you household objects that you, if you've made a bell jar and you've cut the top for a bottle, use that.
Yeah.
And that would be a good alternative lantern housing if you don't have. You could buy a couple of lights and you could have one that's at the top and and is the lantern. And you could have one at the bottom that does the light into the rest of the TARDIS.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea is we're going to put this in here. We're going to glue that in there. So this tubing, I mean, what would be ideal would be if you got tubing that was light. Likelihood of that's very specific purchasing. Yeah. So what we're just going to do is we're just going to hold it in the bottom there, and then we're going to put a gun around it to secure it in place.
So this is made by RealDinosGamez. Kim, I tweeted that 3D printed transformer I 3D modeled based on unused concept art, like you asked me to ages ago. So there we go. So RealDinosGamez has 3D printed this amazing transformer based on unused concept art. I can see why it's unused though, because I feel like the leg is a little bit impractical. Like I mean, how can it pick stuff up?
He'd be wobbly, wouldn't he?
Yeah. But that's really cool. That's really cool.
That's really cool.
RealDinosGamez. Thank you.
Yes, do share creations with us. We love seeing what you made.
Yeah, we've got a lot of shared creations.
So just to talk about glue, glue gun glue is wonderful for gluing light because it's see-through.
Ooh.
So the light still goes through it. So you could literally shove a load of glue in the end of this tube and then just push the light into it and it would work fine. It's really fun for putting lights into things. Using glue gun glue for that is great. So yeah, just shove
it up in there.
Shove it up in there. Use glue gun a lot. Also glue, I think this is right.
Brain.
No, brain's gone. Whatever I was going to say, but it works great for. So we're going in through the door. Oh, so many innuendos, and we're going up through the top.
Oh my fucking can't do this to me.
I'm sorry.
You can't
so
do this
sorry.
to me.
And I'm just gonna... Oh.
Could you make it a bit more central on the camera so I can get a better view, please?
In a second when I've...
You fiddling.
Okay. Okay. Is that central enough?
Yeah. I can see the hole.
So, you can see the hole and the tube. It's coming up. Whee!
Hooray!
It's so wonky. It's so wonky. Oh, tubing. I sort of hate you. But, I mean, it can probably be... Now it's in position, it can probably be readjusted because it does still flex and bend. So I could reinforce that and make it straighter. But yes, that's a... I'm not going to turn it on yet. I want to turn it on at the end as a... Like...
Reveal.
Yeah.
Clickbait.
Clickbait. So you got to stay to the end to see the light on. Haha. But the idea is, if you can see, try and show you this. Like, if you can see through the window, which I think you will be able to.
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, you'll be able to see that where the lamp, where the actual light is kind of right in the center of these windows.
Mm-hmm.
So the light will shine out through these windows and then go up through the tube as well.
Okay.
So this is the way to do it with only one light, which is, you know, economical, I guess. Means you only need to get one delivery. So that's our little lantern top. What I would like to do with this, but I'm not sure I do have paint. Haha. Is paint the inside of it silver, just to help reflect that light back again.
Okay.
Not right to the edge on this, so I'm not painting to the edge because there's a little bit of an overhang. Just want that silver to be inside the tube. But once we've glued it on, we can then paint it blue to match, and that will cover any silver that's overstepped.
So this is this is the hat that goes on top?
Yeah, the lantern top. Lantern lid, I guess.
Hat. I like hat.
Hat. Okay, you like hat. The real problem is that the top is massively wonky as well.
Yeah, it's a bit crooked.
It is so crooked. If I can just kind of straighten out the top, then I can at least put the hat on correctly. I should have probably done this before I inserted it, but I couldn't really see how it was gonna line up.
Cutting towards trot there.
Now I'm cutting towards trot.
Yeah, good. I feel very threatened right now because you're cutting towards the camera, and I'm just
cutting towards Kim.
No, I'm not Trot.
No, but the camera is away from me, and we all know that you've cut away from yourself. Right? Everyone knows that. I mean, I'm checking because you all sort of talked about gluing your eyes shut a minute ago, so I don't want to assume that you would cut away from yourself.
Don't assume it'll make an ass out of you and me.
Exactly. No, I don't want to. I don't want to assume. So this is where we're going to use our little relief outliner. But yeah, you could use anything. You could just draw this on. You could use. I just happen to have this stuff. This stuff is really fun for doing lettering on things because you can literally just. Yeah, I don't use it for its actual intended purpose. I just use it for other things. So I'm going to try and do this in a way that I can demonstrate, show.
Steady hands. Concentrate. Concentrate. Don't wobble. Nice.
Oh, I've got a bubble. I've got a bubble.
Oh, what do you do when you have a bubble?
Panic.
No, that's not an answer. You're meant to have the answer to everything.
You stop squeezing, you pop the bubble, and then you carry on.
Right. Okay.
Don't try keep going with the bubble because the bubble will just get bigger. It's so wonky.
That is what she said.
Next time we make a TARDIS, you could actually. That's another point. You could 3D print this. That might be what I do for TARDIS Mark II. Because then I could get a proper lantern and it would be straight, and I could print these ridges on and then just paint them.
I mean, it looks pretty good from here.
That is getting there.
Yeah.
So we're going to glue that top on now. I'm going to glue gun this on. Because as I've discussed, I dislike other forms of glue right now. I am going to try and get better with cement. I think I maybe don't own a good one. And glues are different depending on cost. So I'm just going to put this
But yeah, if
inside.
the glue gun works, it works, right?
Yeah, I think the thing with the glue gun is it's easier to get like scrappy edges, whereas you can be really precise with them. What I just need is I need a precise glue gun tip, which you can get. Because I don't think I will ever stop loving my glue gun.
I just won't stop loving you.
Hey guys.
Look at that! I'm just pulling the screen down so they can see your top screen a bit better.
Look how good that's looking!
Oh. Yay.
We're just going to do some finishing paint effects on this with our last half hour.
Okay.
Because when we were doing dragon eggs, we talked about dry brushing, and then we actually didn't really do dry brushing. We did like a rubbing on form of painting.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a bit of dry brushing just to show off dry brushing, because this is the perfect thing for it. I've lost my black paint.
Brilliant.
So you can dry brush with any colour. Black is, it's great for shadows. So a lot of people will do a black or a dark brown dry brush. But if you can also do something. Actually, we'll do two dry brush. We'll take a black, and we'll take our pearly sapphire blue, which I'm really excited about. It has mica in it, shiny and snazzy. I get excited by paints. Leave me alone. So the idea with this dry brushing involves no water whatsoever.
Okay.
So
I'm guessing that's implied with the dry.
It is implied with the title, but it also, like, the point is... which brushes do I want to use for this? That one. That's a bad brush. What's good for this is quite a stiff brush. So not a nice soft, painterly brush like this one. Or like these ones, which are so soft. Something a bit kind of scruffy, stubby. These ones are good. These are really hard bristles. Mm-hmm. Again, really, really cheap. I still need new brushes.
Did you buy them from Tiger?
Yeah, I got these ones from Tiger because you had them, and I was like, they're really nice paints, paint brushes. And then 2 of them have snapped off there.
Brilliant.
So I have like 2 brush heads.
2 stubbies.
2 stubbies. Okay, so let's start with our black. So dry brushing. Let's turn the TARDIS up right for you. Is that the right way up?
Yeah, that's the right.
Okay. I think it's okay. Okay, so you put some paint on your brush. You want as little paint on your brush as possible. The point of dry brushing is really not to overdo, like, you don't even want much paint. Like, it's not wet in any way, even with paint. And then with the black, because we're using that to create the shadows, we're just going to take that and we're going to work it in to the corners.
It's just a little bit off camera at the moment, but I presume you're working your way up.
How's that?
Yeah, better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
So we're just kind of working that in, and because it's dry brushing, like, the paint goes away really quickly, so you just sort of work it in, and you end up with paint collecting in the corners, but not coming out. I've put a bit too much on my brush there, but not coming out and overdoing the colour. Just end up with these nice little shadows.
Okay.
Is that visible?
Just about. I think it's difficult because there's a shadow on the corner, like a real shadow on the corner anyway.
Yeah, let me do... Is that corner better?
Yeah, because there's light pouring onto that side.
Okay. Let's just try and do that one. So, go a bit of black, work it off on the side of the paint palette, and then we just start working it into the corner, and then working out from the corner as the paint starts to run out. So
I think it doesn't help that your overhead camera is having a hissy fit over autofocusing.
Yeah, that because I'm waving a brush in front of it. But see that happening now?
Yeah.
So what you're getting is you're getting heavy paint in the... You're just getting it, like, going away towards the center, and it just gives it that kind of depth. That
is there a specific way you need to paint the shadows? If you know what I mean?
Sorry, itchy ear. No. This is more, rather than, I guess, shadows, it's almost trying to give it authentic weathering.
Okay. So more like texture.
And what would happen would be, like, you know, dirt would clump in the corners. Like, over time. You're not, like, things look too new if you paint them just, like, one colour.
Mm-hmm.
But if you imagine, like, the ends, the corners are going to get, like, chipped.
Yeah.
And so they're going to get rubbed. Whereas, you know, bits like this, dust is going to collect in the corners there. So it's more weathering than shadows.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So it's just anywhere where kind of, you know, would be darker after a bit of wear and tear, you can just start working, you know, like all these kind of bits. It's not going to be clear blue, is it? It's going to be...
Keita Shimakaze says also moisture damage would happen more in places where there is a shadow that doesn't dry as fast. And Capture Ton says, wouldn't the dust fall off in the time vortex though?
Yeah, but you'd get time dust.
Yeah.
Time dust is hell to clean.
Little space limpets.
I think we've all been there. I'm surprised they don't get more barnacles. I mean, they never stand still long enough.
You know, like those sharks that get the little sucker fish that suck onto them?
Yeah. And sharks never stop moving, so...
Yeah.
So, yeah, you just kind of give that... It just makes it look more authentic. Like, you can paint something all one colour. I mean, also, I've negated some of this because I paint with so many different colours to start with. Like, I don't paint with just a block blue. If I airbrushed this, it would all be a block blue. And this step would be really important to make it look realistic.
Keita Shimakaze says, are there like mini TARDISes that feed off of the big TARDIS?
Oh, I mean, I really want there to be now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one's really nice now, I would say.
Yeah, I like that. I like what you've done there.
See the difference?
Yeah.
See how that's having an effect? But yeah, the other thing that you can do is dry brushing lighter colours.
Okay.
So you do this a lot with like metals or things that are pretending to be like metal that's been painted.
Mm-hmm.
In that the paint would chip off over time and you'd get like the metal finish underneath showing through. So the exposed bits of the TARDIS are really the corners. So we could just take... I've gone too dry with my dry brush. I don't have any paint. We could just take from the corners and...
Wolfie Cortova says, the TARDIS is a coral that takes thousands of years to grow fully.
Aww. What size does it end up as? How big is inside by the end? See that we're just giving a kind of little highlight on the edge there?
Just about, yeah. Higher, a bit higher.
Get this into the light.
Yeah, I can see, yeah.
Yeah, so there's just that slight pearlescent tint, and it just sort of helps. It basically helps the eye, it basically helps it feel real. It's giving it that kind of world, things aren't... A perfect example of this is looking at my craft mat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my craft mat doesn't have corners, it's flat. It doesn't have bits where dust can collect, but it is filthy.
Yeah.
It's got, a splash here, it's got dark bits rubbed in here. This is how something that gets used becomes.
Yeah.
Stuff doesn't stay, perfect.
Pristine.
Dragon eggs should always be perfect. But yeah, like stuff that gets used, stuff that's out in the world, things happen to it. And like, people will put in like what if there's like a huge chip out the TARDIS at some point? You might just kind of you might dig in a hole into your foam or your structure and then really highlight that with paint.
Yeah. So make an accident a feature.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you can really just
battle TARDIS.
Go to town having is that shown off a bit more there?
Yeah, no, that looks great, yeah.
So there's some windows. Sorry, that was me cracking my knuckles.
I hate it.
Really cracky knuckles
you
today.
You do, they're awful. Turn it around, turn your boy around.
Oh, turn it the right way up.
And your bottom camera's frozen again. Screw it, let's go for the... Oh wait, no, it's caught up. It's caught up. Right, time to light it up.
Light it up.
Get that breathing light on. Breathing.
Do this.
Oh. Can just about see it, yeah.
Yeah, you can see that.
Oh.
It's coming out the windows, coming out the top.
Yes! Oh my god. I'm kind of a bit hypnotized by it. You've really nailed that double color thing.
Yeah. So we've got that, and in the dark you should see a bit of glow coming out of these as well. You're not going to see that in the light because of the paper, but yeah.
That is really cool. That is so cool. And as ever, for the YouTubes, here is the finished thing, completely finished, somewhere on the screen now. Woo! Wolfie Cordova says, I would pay you 50 quid for that. There you go. Customer for you right there. And for now, farewell. Bye! Stay safe, everyone. Stay safe, stay safe. Wash your hands, wash your butts. Bye. I'm going to mute the mic and then go to the... No, not that one. That one. And then it's this. Oh, God, it's that window. No. Oh, God. It's that one. Bye.